Ezeoku. He's acting national youth leader. And we've been talking about this whole matter. The part that I think has caught the attention of those who are not as sympathetic to the bill as they perhaps might have been is the provision that open grazing will be prohibited, is to be prohibited in favor of ranching. And that's why I read out the full title of the bill. Is the national, there's a move to have a National Animal Husbandry and Ranching Commission for the regulation, management, and preservation. So instead of cattle just moving all over the place, open grazing wherever they find greenery, now ranching has other implications. Number one, it takes out a certain way of life that people say have been used to for hundreds of years, and it's now the opposite. Let the cattle be there, let the herds be in a confined area, aka ranching, and their feed will be provided within that environment, thereby removing the injury to the property of others. It has often been heard that where your rights end is where the other person's begin. Surely farmers have the right to their farmlands as well, and but what the herders are saying that it's our livelihood, it's our way of life. And the farmers are saying that, well, this is our livelihood and our way of life. And so that's why the conversation has been going on for decades. Now, at the National Assembly, it's been passed for the second reading, and here we are. So, Mazi, thank you for staying with us. Mazi Chukuma Okpala Ezeoku, acting national youth leader, Ohaneze Ndigbo worldwide. How bad is the situation in the Southeast? Because that is your area of interest, even though it's a national issue.
Thank you. Open grazing is a great menace in Southeast. It has taken lives of innocent citizens. It has affected our livelihood. It has also made us to go.
Is it open grazing or the clashes between farmers and herders?
Open grazing is the basis of the clashes between the farmers and the herders. Okay. Open grazing is the basis, the foundation of all the crises between the farmers and the herders in Southeast, precisely where I can say for sure, as an Igbo youth from childhood, I have known herders in my society, and we have been living in peace, not until a few years ago when it became a life-taking threat of our people in Southeast. And the worst part of it is that ever since the inception of these notorious clashes between the farmers and the herders, not one person is standing trial for all the lives claimed by this crisis. Therefore, we are determined as a people to ensure that we nip this now that we can, not just for our people, but also for all Nigerians. The herders in Southeast are very important to us because meat is a necessity in the food. We need it, and we shall not go without having meat. But it must be regulated as dictated in that bill. It must be well managed in a way, like you said here, that where one person's right ends, another starts. Farming is a livelihood, a means of livelihood, and people have it as a way of life. Open grazing is already damaging that culture of farming and food production. It is not only affecting Yes, it is now taking lives.
Indeed, and that's a terrible situation to have arrived at. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for holding on. Go ahead now, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yari. And good morning to Mazi Chukuma. Uncle Yari,
good morning.
I'm surprised that it is now that the National Assembly is trying to address this matter. For more than 10 years, this issue has caused a lot of insecurity in the land. And the government before this, government of President Buhari, was rather reluctant to address the issue. You can't tell me that the culture, your culture or your way of life, even if it impedes the right of the other person, cannot change. There's no way of life that is not subject to development. The issue is ranching is the only solution to this issue. You see how the clashes between the herders and farmers in different communities has resulted to the insecurity in the whole of Nigeria today because it was not addressed at the right time. If I were the president, I would, in liaising with the officers or senior leaders of the National Assembly, consult with the northern emirs and northern leaders to make them see reason why this way of life has to be adjusted in the interest and security of well-being of our people generally in this country. It doesn't take away anything in terms of commercial gain if they want, ranching. If the ranching is done, schools and facilities for family life can be established around the area of the ranching for these herdsmen. They will make more money. So why is it that it's a problem?
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. That has been the age-old question. Everybody understands that ranching is definitely better, more efficient. And so I like the way that viewer put it, Mazi Chukuma. I like the way that caller put it. The stakeholders in the communities that have a predominantly large holding of cattle and consequently are herders, their way of life needs to be considered for adjustment. The bill, of course, is not into that kind of diplomatic language. It calls for an outright banning of open grazing as the only way to peace. So stakeholders are going to have to be involved because nobody is going to poo-poo their way of life. People are very, very sensitive to that. So this is the issue that we have on our hands. Alhaji Zubair has called in from Alimosho. Good morning, Alhaji.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yori.
Thank you.
Yes, I think your guest is trying to, judge the answer. See, this is an issue that is not hidden to anybody in Nigeria. We need to be fundamental and straightforward with this issue. And I expect your guest to even be straightforward with this issue. This issue of open grazing has caused a lot of life in this country. Has damaged a lot of crops.
That's why we're looking for solutions.
Food to be scarce.
What are the solutions? Alhaji, what solution would you prefer?
Look, and it's the responsibility of our government. If they know, hello?
Alhaji, what solution would you prefer?
What I'm saying, the solution is straightforward. It should be abolished. Look, you remember the last... The solution I'm saying is that, grazing is a kind of personal business. It's a business. You cannot be doing business and then someone is following my own business. So they should be confined to a particular place. And I'm advising the state governors, if they really serving the interest of the people, all the states to embark on on this ranching or the conservation of cattle for the benefits of their people. Enough is enough for this open grazing. He has made us to suffer in this country. And more so, let me remind you, the last regime, empower these, ranching people, give them AK-84, killing our people. For what? You are doing your own personal business. You are making us to suffer. Now there's no food in the market, because of this herdsmen. Food will come from heaven. No way. You understand? So this is the issue. If the federal government really, they are serious about the citizenry, they should cancel this ranching open grazing. Enough is enough for this killing. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Zubair, for calling in. If you're just joining us, we're looking at this bill that's been passed for the second reading in the National Assembly. It seeks to prohibit open grazing in favor of ranching, and that's what we're talking about in a nutshell. Our guest is Mazi Chukwuma. Just like Alhaji said, it's the solution. It's a no-brainer. Everybody knows the solution. The solution: remove the problem. Don't let cattle open graze. End of story. But then people are talking about a holistic approach. And if you notice, those distinguished senators that are going that direction are from a particular part of the country. So it goes back to what we were saying. There's a psychological aspect to this. This is our way of life, and let's be holistic about this. And we're hearing language immediately now of we will fight this to the last. That shows the emotional characterization involved here. Yet, if we're looking at solutions, I don't know. There's no way. There's no other solution. Seems to be the good sense that has led Senator Titus Zam to come up with this proposal. There's no other way. Ranching is the only way to go, unless you're going to say better trained herders who are now more expert than before and who know how to tell their cattle, not here, move, continue to move forward. So as preposterous as that notion is, the only option left is to have ranching, is to have ranches. So maybe that's what is going to have to be interrogated, why there is a reluctance to the idea, apart from this whole matter about hundreds of years of our existence, wherever we came from and in this country. You said it yourself. You don't have anything against them, but it's a matter of rights. Where their rights, where the rights of the farmer, of the herders end, is where the rights of the local farmers begin. Somebody else is on the line? I didn't hear that. Well, I can't hear, but there is somebody. Good morning. Can you please go ahead? Yes, we got you now. Go ahead, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Falani and the person.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Well, it's a thing of joy that the National Assembly is now looking into this matter. The problem of open grazing and cattle moving around has been a very serious one in the country. And if we have decided to live together as a people, we cannot continue to do things that will continue to divide us. Sincerely speaking, this open grazing by the Fulanis has cost Nigeria so much. And now that we are giving attention to it, I think we need to get it right. Open grazing. Many states in the country have passed laws prohibiting open grazing. I think it was Benue State that started it, and some other states followed. But unfortunately, you find that many of the actors, they don't respect laws. They don't respect all these laws. They will tell you cannot ask them not to graze the animals. No. In Ogun State here, where I am here, such a law exists. But you still see animals moving around every day.
That's right.
Intruding into personal, private properties and so on and so forth.
Yes.
The effect of open grazing is even more than just eating up crops. It's general degradation of land, general destruction of other properties, private properties. In fact, the issue of insecurity today has a major roots in open grazing. And again, when you look at even the agitation for self-determination, for people wanting their own country and all that, a major cause of these agitations has to do with the havoc that the people that are moving animals around are causing everybody. As we now fold our arms and be looking at this, that is why I said that the National Assembly is looking into this matter now. It's a thing of joy.
Okay. Okay.
Honestly, they don't. You see, the herders, they don't respect boundaries. Even in official quarters, at the airports, inside schools, you find them. This thing has even our national esteem as a nation. It's at stake. I'm from a part of the country where the animal population is very high in southwest Nigeria, Ogun State. Yewa for that matter. So many of our people have lost their lives, their younger ones. People that have graduated from schools and they're on their farms, they will go there boldly. I mean, eat up crops and they will talk.
Okay. So, Professor,
As a nation,
I beg your pardon, Professor. Sorry for interrupting you, Professor. Can you see any solution? Because what we're trying to see is if there are solutions outside, for example, of the law that is before the National Assembly. People are talking about we should have a holistic approach, and I think that is referring to the fact that there should be ranching in those areas where there is a high proportion of this very situation. I think some senators are seeing it as discriminatory.
Yeah, sorry, the whole essence of the whole essence of ranching and the concept of ranching is to keep these animals under some checks, to put them under some restrictions. If the worst should come to the worst, there may be need for us to regionalize even animal rearing. If some people believe the animals cannot be restricted, if they get to states where such laws exist, they have to abide by it. The only solution is to restrict animals into what we are discussing.
Ranches.
Yes, ranching is of course the only solution. All your animals, you have although there will be a lot of issues surrounding ranching too, because issue of land, acquisition of land, and so on. Because when you talk about ranching, what people will tell you is that Fulanis don't have access to land. So if in our communities, nobody is ready to sell land to them because we know when they get there, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
But these issues can be resolved over time. But definitely.
Professor, the signal sort of petered out, but thank you very much for calling in, Professor. Mazi, it's all about solutions. That's what we're trying to explore. But I don't think anybody has come up with any solution. They are discussing it, and that's a good move. They are discussing it at the National Assembly. We heard the heated nature of the debate, but it is felt that ranching is the only solution that is going to get us out of this log jam that we're in here. So difference is a contradiction of the way of life of some and the right that some contend to have, and reality. You were just telling me that in the southeast area, looking at insecurity, there is no solution apart from confined, if that is the word, confined animals, especially cattle, which is a great stock of wealth, an exceedingly important stock of wealth, especially to Fulani herders, and confine them to ranches, take care of them, spoil them with care, spoil them for care, medication, feeding, and all of that. That seems to be the logical way to look at it. But as you just saw in that report that we led with, it's not as simple as that. One senator, I was a bit dismayed when he said, we will fight it to the last. Fight what? Fight against ranching to the last? And so this is what diplomacy and tact is going to, no doubt, resolve if we get to that, as we sort of negotiate this question.
For me, the solution, the one and only solution is ranching. And if there must be another solution to it, then it has to be understanding.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Ranching is the one and only solution to this.
So we have to get the buy-in.
There must.
So we have to get the buy-in.
Another one, then it has to be understanding, and the understanding is to make our fellow Nigerians who feel threatened to understand that it is a means of livelihood, it is business. Like in Southeast, all cow that come to Southeast, they come in. I don't think there is a farm where a cow is being given birth to in Southeast. But if we have a ranch now, you can have a farm where these cows can be well taken good care of.
Yeah.
It will even impact in the healthy nature of the meats being produced, because their water shall be treated, their food shall be well taken good care of. They will no longer be eating anything they see unchecked,
cash crops,
untreated.
Yes. Now, exactly.
So,
and then
what is important is for our fellow Nigerians to understand. We shall continue to explain to them. They have to understand that this is the only way to mitigate this devil. I want to ask a question. If you have a dog, an animal, in your house, and you have a visitor that you want to feel so free in your house, what would you do? You will go and cage your dog. You put it in an enclosed area where it will no longer have the natural push to attack your visitors. It is natural.
Okay, we've run out of time. Thank you very much, Mazi Chukwuma. Thank you very much. We've run out of time, as you've said, and just about everybody who has called in has said. Nobody has called in with a contrary opinion. Ranching is the way forward, but we're going to have to get the buy-in. Nigeria, when I say we, Nigeria is going to have to have the buy-in of those concerned. And this is not going to be about the ranchers alone, even those who are custodians of their ways of life, you know, the rulership, the emirship, the sultans, everybody is going to have to be involved in this. That Nigeria needs to move into the present time, here and now. Nobody does, open grazing anymore. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Mazi Chukwuma Okpala-Ezeokwu, acting national youth leader on Ohaneze Ndigbo worldwide. Appreciate your coming on the program.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Indeed. Yeah, so that's our program today. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folare. Bye-bye for now.